Boys and girls, this next one is called clay person. We're going to make our very own clay person. Clay is something that's soft. You might have used it in art class before, and you can build little models out of it. For this one, we're going to make a little clay person. And our clay person is going to go on an adventure. The first adventure they're going to go on is they're going to take a little walk. Do 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 do. And then they get to a building and they're going to hop into an elevator. Bing! They have to call the elevator first. Do do do. Whoop! And now they get into the elevator. The doors open up. Whoop! They step out. Do do. And then they realize that they're on the top floor and they want to get back down. So they decide they're going to jump because they don't want to be on this floor. But luckily they have their parachute and they put that on. And then they jump. Woo! Splat. The parachute didn't open. But luckily they're just made out of clay, so we can make another clay person. Let's make another one. And let's do the ride again. This time I'm not going to explain anything. See if you can figure out what's happening. Do 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 do. Ding. Whoop. Beep boop. Choo choo. Whee! See if you can make up your own story and do it just with sound effects like I did. I'm going to make a story about my day, and we'll see if you can figure out what I did. Okay, ready? Whoop. Do 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 do. Suit. Do do do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Beep boop 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 boop. Wee 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 wee. Do 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 do. Ooh. Do 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 do. Do. Boing. 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 Do do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Whew. Do 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 do. Ah. Do do do. Could you figure out what my clay person did? See if you can make up your own story to act out, and make sure you use those sound effects. That's the most important part of this one. I've got the note neighborhood, dotted quarter, and flying eighth. Hi friends, welcome back. Thanks for coming back to the note neighborhood this evening. Something special happens around this time of day, and I wanted to share with all of you. The bright sun is making everything around here cast long shadows. Look at the shadows of the trees. You might remember the last time you visited the sassy half note, freaked out because she found a dot following her. We learned all about dotted notes and how they work. The dot gives extra value to the note or rest that it's connected to. A shadow might add some length to a tree, but it's not really the same as the tree. The shadow is stuck to the ground and doesn't climb into the air like the tree. So you might say that it doesn't have as much value as the tree. It's worth about half as much as the tree. You might remember that we used the example of a star note. You rarely see these notes because they're usually off being rock stars or movie stars. A star note is very special. The star note is worth 100 beats. A dot is worth half of the note that it's connected to. So since the star note is worth 100, the dot is worth 50. That's right. The star note is worth 100 beats and the dot is worth half of 100. That means the dot is worth 50 beats. If you see a dotted star note, that means you add the 100 for the star plus the 50 for the dot. You would get... You're right, 150 beats. That's a lot. You remember that the sassy half note is worth 2 beats. A dot is worth half of the note that it's connected to. What is half of 2? 1. That's right. The half note is worth 2 beats and the dot is worth half of 2. That means the dot is worth 1 beat. If you see a dotted half note, that means you add the 2 for the half note plus the 1 for the dot. You would get 2 plus 1 equals, you're right, 3 beats. Well, the sun is in just the right place, and I think it's about to cast a shadow behind me. Now I have the dot too. Maybe you can help me figure out how much the dot adds to my value. When I stand by myself, I'm worth 1 beat. A dot is worth half of the note that it's connected to. What is half of 1? 1/2, that's right. A quarter note is worth 1 beat and the dot is worth half of 1. That means the dot is worth half a beat. If you see a dotted quarter note, a dotted ta, that means you add the 1 for the quarter note plus the half for the dot. You would get 1 plus 1/2 is, you're right, 1.5 beats. Now it's a little odd to be worth 1.5 beats. I feel a little incomplete. If only there was another note that was half a beat and could help me feel complete again. Look out! I'm coming in for a rough landing. Whee! Oh, hi, Tilly. I didn't see you flying around earlier. It's like you came out of nowhere. Well, I heard you talking about feeling incomplete and I knew I needed to help. I saw that you figured out a dotted quarter note gets 1.5 beats. And guess what? I'm worth half a beat. If we stand together, we'll add up to a whole number. That way we're not standing around with half a beat. Let's try it out. So 1.5 beats plus 1/2 equals 2. So if I stood by myself in a line with other notes, there'd be an incomplete beat. We'd have a measure with 3.5 beats instead of 4. That's where I come in. I'll stand next to you and together we can add up to 2 beats, completing the measure. Only I'll put on my Tina disguise so that I blend in a little easier. Let's do a little bit of reading and you can see how it works. Remember that each measure gets 4 beats total. Let's see if they add up. 1.5 plus 1/2 plus 1 plus 1, that equals 4, because 1.5 plus half equals 2 altogether, and 1 plus 1 equals 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4. A half note is 2 beats long, and then we have dotted quarter note for 1.5 beats, and an eighth note for half a beat. So 2 plus 1.5 plus another half, 2 plus this equals 2 altogether, 2 plus 2 equals 4. One more try. Let's see if we've really got the hang of this. 1.5 plus 1/2, that's 2. 1.5 plus 1/2, that's another 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 1.5 plus 1/2 is 2. TT, or eighth note pairs, are 1 beat with 2 sounds in it. So that's 1, plus a quarter note, which is 1 beat. 1.5 plus 1/2 is 2, plus another 1 is 3, plus another 1 is 4. You might have noticed that ta and tilly often stand together as a set. That's because they go together to add up to a whole number. If either person stood on their own, they'd feel a little incomplete. Each measure has to add up to a whole number. You can't have leftover fractions. So oftentimes you'll see a dotted quarter note, a dotted ta, standing with a single eighth note, tilly. Remember, you can add a dot to any note or rest and you'll increase the value by half, normally worth 2 beats each. Half of 2 is 1, and 2 plus 1 equals 3. See how we've increased the value of the half note and half rest? They are now worth 3 beats each. Let's try it with king whole note and his whole rest too. They are normally worth 4 beats each, but if we add the half of 4 is 2, and 4 plus 2 equals 6. See how we've increased the value? What a transformation! Now worth 6 beats each. Adding a dot can be confusing at first, but I'm sure you'll get it. Just keep practicing and thinking critically as you work. So let's say this page together. We're going to try the dotted half notes. We say tam for a dotted quarter note and ta-ah-ah for a dotted half note because it gets 3 beats. So we'd say tam, ti-ti-ti-ta, tika-tika-ti-ti-tam, ti-ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-tam, ti-ta, ti-ti-tika-tika-ta, ti-ti-tam, ti-tam, ti-ta, sh, tam, ti-ti-ti-ta. Let's try it one more time together. Ready, steady, with me, go. Tam, ti-ti-ti-ta, tika tika tea tea tam, tea 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 ta, tea tea tam, tea ta, tea tea tika tika ta, tea tea tam, tea tam, tea ta, sh tam, tea 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 ta. Now that we've learned about the dotted quarter note and the single eighth note, let's take a look at Drill Ye Tarriers and find where we can see that rhythm here. If I look through the first line, I can see the dotted quarter note rhythm right here at the end of the line. It happens again in the second line, right where we start singing Drill Ye Tarriers. If you look at the third line, it appears here. It also shows up here. Ooh, and look, there's another dotted note, but that's not a quarter note, it's a dotted half note. In the last line, it's in the second to last measure, right here where we sing Drill Ye Tarriers again. Now let's go through the whole song saying the rhythms that we know. 1, 2, ready, go. Ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ti-ti-ta. Ti-ti-ta-ta, ti-ti-ta-ta, tam. Ti-ta-ta-ta, ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ta, tam, ti-ti-ti-ta-ta. Tam, ti-ti-ti-ta-ta, tam, ti-ti-ti-ta-ta. Ti-ta-ta-ta, ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ta, tam, ti-ti-ti-ta-ta. Your challenge for Drill Ye Tarriers drill this week is going to be to make a composition that will be the B section for Drill Ye Tarriers drill. This will be a little rhythmic thing that goes in between the verses. To make my composition, I'm going to select some of these rhythms from the boxes below. Notice that each one is 4 beats long. So I would click and drag them into each different box up here. Ti-ti-ta-ta-ta. I think I'd like to use this new rhythm. Tam, ti-ta-ta. I think I like this one. Ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ta, and I'll finish it with this one. Ta-sh, ta-sh. And I notice there's a repeat sign at the end, so I'll perform this rhythm 2 times. Ti-ti-ta-ta-ta. Tam, ti-ta-ta, ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ta, ta-sh, ta-sh. Ti-ti-ta-ta-ta, tam, ti-ta-ta, ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ta, ta-sh, ta-sh. Now I could put this part in with the song Drill Ye Tarriers Drill, just like this. Working all day without sugar and meat, hammering on rocks on the old railway. The months roll by and I don't get no pay. Drill ye Tarriers drill. Drill ye Tarriers drill, drill ye Tarriers drill. The months roll by and I don't get no pay. Drill ye Tarriers drill. Ti-ti-ta-ta-ta, tam, ti-ta-ta, ti-ti-ta, ti-ti-ta, sh, ta, sh. This week I've also included a video in Schoology of a cup game to the song Can't Stop the Feeling. I hope that you have fun trying to learn that one, and we might try it together in our live lessons during the week. As always, don't forget that you need to post in the class discussion. Remember, you post in the class discussion by going to the part of your lesson that says, "Discuss this," and posting your response. Lastly, you'll need to make sure that you complete your exit ticket for the week. This can be found in the Do This section of Schoology. I hope you have a great week, boys and girls, and that you've had fun learning your music lessons this week.